Alright bro, buckle up for this wild ride into the psyche of Kang Ji Won from the 2024 K-drama, Marry My Husband. Imagine discovering your spouse is cheating on you with your best friend. Talk about a double whammy. But wait, it gets crazier. After being off by these backstabbers, Ji Won wakes up a decade earlier. Now armed with the knowledge of her past/future, she's on a mission to rewrite her destiny and dish out some well-deserved payback. Now, she might not be the poster child for mental stability, honestly, who is these days, but Ji Won's journey from doormat to boss-level Avenger is like a masterclass in reclaiming your mojo. So let's dive into this character analysis and see how Ji Won turns her betrayal into a badass comeback story. Ji Won ain't just sitting around crying over spilled milk. Nah, she's plotting like a chess grandmaster. She decides to hook up her cheating ex with her so-called best friend, setting them up for a miserable marriage. It's like watching a master chef cook up a revenge souffle, delicious and satisfying. Enter Yoo Ji-hyuk, the suave marketing manager at her company. This dude's got Ji Won's back and then some. Turns out he's also a time traveler, having kicked the bucket in a car accident in the original timeline. Now he's back, ready to protect Ji Won and maybe even win her heart. Talk about a tale as old as time. As Ji Won and Ji-hyuk get closer, the bad guys start digging their own graves. Min-hwan and Soo-min's marriage, total dumpster fire. Min-hwan even starts fooling around with Ji-hyuk's ex-fiancée, Oh-yura. It's like a soap opera on steroids. Eventually, Min-hwan gets off by Soo-min, Soo-min lands herself in the slammer, and Yura bites the dust in a car crash. Karma's a real deal, huh? Fast forward to April 12, 2023, the day Ji Won originally died. But this time, she's alive and kicking, holding hands with Ji-hyuk at an art exhibit. They're married, got kids, and living the dream. She hit that reset button and actually won the game of life. Ji Won's journey is a testament to resilience and the ultimate comeback. She turns betrayal into empowerment, all while navigating the craziness of time travel and revenge. But enough with all that, let's take a closer look at her. At the start, Ji Won's choices are defined by her environment and the people around her, aka her walking red flag husband and backstabbing bestie. She's stuck in a cycle of trying to please everyone but herself. Sound familiar? It's like when you say yes to every weekend plan even though your social battery's been dead since Wednesday. Ji Won doesn't just let people walk over her, she lays down the welcome mat. But then, she dies. When she gets her second chance, every choice becomes intentional. She's not just reacting to her circumstances anymore, she's shaping them. The old Ji Won would have stayed quiet, kept the peace. New Ji Won, she's out here playing 5D chess while everyone else is still figuring out red from black. Every move she makes, whether it's pulling away from her toxic relationships or aligning herself with people who genuinely care, is strategic and honestly, it's inspiring. Like, maybe I should finally start saying no to things that drain me. Or, I don't know, stop doom scrolling at 2 AM. Baby steps, right? Let's talk about relationships, bro, because they're the backbone of Ji Won's transformation. Her marriage to Min-hwan was a dumpster fire, sure, but it's a perfect example of how bad relationships mess with your head. The dude gaslights her into thinking she's lucky to have him. Classic manipulation tactics. And Soo-min? She's the kind of friend who'd steal your fries and your partner. Together, these two create the perfect storm of betrayal that pushes Ji Won to the edge. But here's where it gets interesting. Ji Won doesn't just cut them off and call it a day. She actively works to dismantle their hold on her, one calculated step at a time. It's like she's saying, "Oh, you thought you could break me? Watch me thrive, losers." And thrive she does. She starts building relationships with people who actually deserve her time and energy. Their dynamic is refreshing because for once, she's with people who values her for who she is, not for what she can do for them. Her evolution in relationships isn't just about swapping bad people for good ones, it's about rediscovering her own worth. It's like when you finally unfriend that toxic person from high school on Facebook and realize your newsfeed is way less stressful. Ji Won's journey reminds us that cutting out the bad doesn't just make room for the good, it also gives you the space to grow. Let's be real, when Ji Won starts taking control of her life, it's not just satisfying, it's cathartic. Watching her go from "yes dear" to "try me punk" is the kind of character development that hits you right in the feels. Her behavior shifts in subtle but significant ways. She's not reckless or impulsive. Every move is deliberate. She's still the kind-hearted person she always was, but now she's got boundaries. And bro, boundaries are the secret sauce of self-respect. For example, when Min-won tries to guilt trip her in the reset timeline, old Ji Won might have caved. New Ji Won, she shuts that nonsense down faster than you can say emotional manipulation. Her transformation isn't just about revenge, it's about reclaiming her narrative. And honestly, isn't that what we're all trying to do? Like, sure, I haven't time traveled to outwit my enemies, but I have started muting Discord chats when they become toxic. Progress, right? One of the most realistic parts of Ji Won's character is that her healing isn't a straight line. She doesn't just wake up one day and suddenly have it all figured out. There are setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when she questions if revenge is worth it. Spoiler, it is. These guys totally deserve everything they get. Her journey shows that growth is messy, and that's okay. Like, I've been trying to drink more water for years and I still forget half the time. Sorry, Hydro homies. Ji Won's path isn't about perfection, it's about progress. She learns to forgive herself for her past mistakes without letting that forgiveness turn into complacency. It's a delicate balance and she nails it. What's more, her development doesn't just benefit her. The people around her start to grow too. It's like her newfound confidence is contagious. Watching Ji Won's evolution is like watching your friend finally leave that terrible relationship they were in and start living their best life. You're proud, happy for them, and inspired to get your own act together. Okay, let's talk frameworks, bro, because Ji Won's revenge isn't your typical tit for tat. It's layered, nuanced, and, dare I say, therapeutic. She's not just out here ruining lives for the fun of it, although let's be honest, it is fun to watch. Her actions are rooted in justice, not malice. It's like she's restoring balance to the universe, one karmic smackdown at a time. What makes her approach so compelling is that she doesn't just target Min-won and Soo-min directly. She dismantles the systems that enable their behavior. Whether it's exposing Min-won's shady dealings and calling out his parents, or outsmarting Soo-min at her own game, Ji Won's revenge is as much about self-empowerment as it is about punishment. It's the kind of poetic justice that makes you want to slow clap every time she pulls off another win. And let's not ignore the psychological toll revenge takes on her. Even as she's succeeding, there are moments when you can see the weight of it all catching up to her. It's a reminder that revenge isn't a one-way ticket to happiness. It's messy, complicated, and sometimes more trouble than it's worth. But for Ji Won, it's also necessary. She's not just avenging her past self, she's reclaiming her future. Betrayal isn't just a plot twist. It's a psychological wrecking ball, and Ji Won gets hit from all sides. Her husband and best friend don't just betray her. They obliterate her sense of safety, loyalty, and love. That's not something you just get over. It's the kind of damage that rewires your brain to second-guess every interaction. Ji Won's trust issues in her second timeline aren't just a character quirk. They're the armor she's built to survive. Watching her second-guess relationships is painful because it's so real. Every time someone shows her kindness, you see her hesitate, like she's waiting for the catch. And bro, who hasn't been there? Maybe it's not because of a cheating spouse, but life has a way of teaching you to be wary. Ji Won's constant vigilance is exhausting to watch because you know it's exhausting for her to live. Here's the thing about trauma. It doesn't care if you got some cosmic reset button. Ji Won's new timeline might be a clean slate for the world around her, but her mind is still carrying the scars of her past life. She's haunted by her memories of her death and the betrayal that led to it, and it's clear that this mental baggage colors every choice she makes. This isn't some light stuff, bro. Trauma has a way of whispering in your ear, telling you you're not good enough, that history's just going to repeat itself. And Ji Won hears those whispers loud and clear. It's what drives her to plan everything so meticulously. Every interaction, every move, it's all calculated to avoid the pain she's already lived through. But the downside? Living like that is lonely. She's so focused on surviving that she barely lets herself breathe, let alone trust anyone fully. Okay, let's get into the revenge part because it's not just about getting even, it's therapy, bro. Ji Won's revenge isn't the petty kind. It's deliberate, methodical, and rooted in reclaiming her power. That's what makes it so satisfying to watch. every time she outsmarts Minwon or Sumin, it feels like she's clawing back a little piece of herself. But here's the kicker, revenge doesn't heal you. It's a distraction, sure, and a damn effective one at that, but it doesn't erase the pain. You can see this in Ji Won's quieter moments when she's alone and the weight of everything catches up with her. She's not avenging herself because it'll make her happy. She's doing it because it's the only way she knows how to keep going. And while that's understandable, it's also heartbreaking. She's stuck in survival mode, and you can't thrive when you're just trying to survive. Let's talk about the people in Ji Won's life because they play a massive role in her psychological journey. In her first timeline, her relationships are a source of pain. Her husband and best friend betray her, and everyone else seems oblivious to her suffering. But in her second timeline, relationships become a lifeline. Take her newfound friends for example. They don't push Ji Won to open up, but they're always present when she needs them. And while it's clear Ji Won struggles to let her guard down, their relationship slowly becomes a safe space for her. It's not a magical fix. Her trauma doesn't just vanish because she's found some decent people, but it's a start. It shows her that not everyone is out to hurt her, and that's a big deal. Then there's Ji Won's evolving relationship with herself. In the first timeline, she's a people pleaser to a fault, constantly putting others' needs before her own. But in the second timeline, she starts to prioritize herself. It's a slow process and there are setbacks, but watching her learn to value her own well-being is one of the most rewarding parts of the series. It's a reminder that self-love isn't a destination, it's a journey. And honestly bro, I can use that reminder too. Like maybe I should start meditating or something, or at least drink less coffee. Here's a hot take. Being strong is overrated. Ji Won spends so much time being tough, holding it together, and outsmarting her enemies that you can see it starting to wear her down. Strength is a double-edged sword. It keeps you going, but it also isolates you. Ji Won's fear of showing vulnerability is understandable, but it also means she's carrying this massive burden all by herself. What's wild is how relatable that is. We're all out here pretending we've got it together when in reality, we're just trying not to fall apart. Ji Won's struggle with vulnerability hit me hard because, bro, same. The moments when she does let her guard down, when she cries or admits she's scared, are some of the most powerful in the drama. They show that strength isn't about never breaking. It's about picking up the pieces and moving forward anyway. Even as Ji Won starts to rebuild her life, you can see the shadows of her past lingering. The betrayal she suffered wasn't just a one-time event. It was a foundational rupture in how she sees the world. And her death? That's a whole other layer of trauma. It's one thing to be hurt by people you love, it's another to be killed by them. That kind of experience doesn't just go away. Ji Won's nightmares, her constant need to be in control, her reluctance to trust, it all stems from the psychological scars she carries. And while she's making progress, it's clear that healing is a lifelong process. There's no quick fix, no magic moment where everything's okay. And that's what makes her journey so real. Watching Ji Won get justice for everything she's been through is incredibly satisfying, but it's also bittersweet. On one hand, you're rooting for her every step of the way. Watching Minwon and Sumin get what they deserve is pure gold. But on the other hand, you can't help but wonder if it's enough. Can revenge ever truly heal the wounds they inflicted? Probably not, bro. But it's a start. Ji Won's revenge isn't about making them pay. It's about reclaiming her agency. It's her way of saying, you don't control me anymore. And while it's not a perfect solution, it's a powerful statement. It shows that even in the face of unimaginable betrayal, she refuses to be a victim. And that's something we can all learn from. If there's one thing that stands out about Ji Won's story, it's the hope that underlies everything. Despite all the pain, betrayal, and trauma, she keeps moving forward. She doesn't let her past define her, and she doesn't give up on the possibility of a better future. It's not easy, and it's definitely not pretty, but it's real. Ji Won's journey is a reminder that healing isn't about erasing the past, it's about learning to live with it. And while I'm not saying we all need to go out and exact revenge on our enemies, tempting though, there's something inspiring about the way she takes control of her life. Alright bro, let's get down to it. If you could rewrite your own story, would you? That's the heavy hitter question the drama throws at us. Ji Won gets the ultimate mulligan. a second chance to undo betrayal, heartbreak, and literally getting killed. But here's the thing, does fixing the past actually fix you? Think about it. Imagine having a cosmic Control Z for your life. Messed up a relationship? Undo. Missed an opportunity? Redo. That time you sent a cringy text after a few too many drinks? Erased. Sounds amazing, right? But Ji Won's story reminds us that rewriting the past doesn't mean escaping its emotional toll. Even when she flips the narrative, she carries the pain of betrayal and death into her new life like a mental carry-on bag she can't check. Watching Ji Won navigate her second timeline, you start to realize that changing the external circumstances, getting revenge, making different choices, aligning with better people, doesn't immediately fix the internal damage. She's still scarred, still struggling to trust, still fighting that voice in her head that says, what if it all goes wrong again? Here's where it gets deep, bro. What the drama nails is showing that second chances aren't free. Ji Won pays for hers with emotional labor and self-doubt. Every step forward in the new timeline is haunted by the fear of repeating her old mistakes. That's heavy, and it makes me wonder, would I even want to go back and fix my life if it meant carrying all my current baggage into a different timeline? Think about it. We all have regrets, things we'd do differently if we could. But if you knew that hitting reset wouldn't erase the emotional weight of your choices, would you still go for it? Ji Won's story makes a strong case for be careful what you wish for. She changes her life, sure, but she's not magically healed. Her revenge is satisfying, but it's not closure. And that's a sobering thought for anyone fantasizing about a clean slate. Let me just say it. If I were in Ji Won's shoes, I'd probably botch the whole second chance thing. Like, I'm the kind of guy who forgets what I ate for dinner last night. You really think I'd handle time travel and emotional vengeance with grace? Nah, bro. I'd overthink every decision, get caught in analysis paralysis, and somehow end up in an even worse mess than before. Ji Won's journey is a reminder that self-awareness is half the battle. She knows her triggers, her weaknesses, and her strengths and uses that knowledge to navigate her second timeline. That's inspiring because, let's face it, most of us are just winging it. Watching her reclaim control makes me want to take a long, hard look at my own life and maybe start being a little more intentional with my choices. Let's get to the meat of the drama, Ji Won's epic revenge. Bro, it's satisfying to watch, there's no denying that. But here's the big question. Does revenge actually make her happy, or is it just a temporary distraction from the deeper work of healing? Ji Won's meticulous takedown of Min-won and Soo-min is cathartic because it's about justice, not pettiness. But even as she's winning, there's this underlying sadness. You get the sense that no amount of scheming can fully erase what they did to her. And that's real life, isn't it? Revenge might feel good in the moment, but it's not a sustainable way to deal with pain. At some point, you have to face your own demons, and man, that's the hardest fight of all. Here's another question the drama poses. How much of who you are is shaped by your experiences, and how much of that can you change? Ji Won goes through a massive transformation, but it's not because she time traveled, it's because she chose to take control of her life. The time travel just gave her a different starting point. And that's the thing, bro. We don't need a cosmic reset button to start over. Ji Won's story shows us that change is possible, but it starts with taking ownership of your narrative. It's not easy, and it's definitely not quick, but it's doable. Watching her grow made me realize how often I make excuses for staying stuck. Like, yeah, I've got my issues, don't we all? But maybe it's time to stop letting them define me. By the end of Ji Won's journey, you can't help but wonder, what does winning really mean? Is it about getting revenge, finding love, or simply surviving? For Ji Won, it seems to be a mix of all three. But the biggest victory isn't anything external. It's the fact that she doesn't let her trauma consume her. She learns to live with it, to move forward despite it. And that's the real win, bro. Not erasing the pain, but learning to carry it without letting it break you. Question to you, if you could hit the reset button on one part of your life, what would it be? And more importantly, what would you do differently the second time around? Ji Won's story challenges us to think about the choices we make and the impact they have. Not just on our lives, but on who we are as people. The truth is, we don't get a reset button like Ji Won did. But maybe we don't need one. Maybe the power to change is already in our hands. It's just a matter of deciding when to start. So what's it gonna be, bro? Are you ready to rewrite your story? Or are you gonna let the past keep calling the shots? Thanks everyone for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. Also be sure to check out my other videos for more insight on other dramas and shows. Your support means a lot to me and it helps me grow this channel. If you have any thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future videos, please drop them in the comments down below. Again, thank you for watching this video and I'll see you next time.